This season we've seen plenty of players take a significant leap and become some of the most important in the league on a nightly basis. And while there was a ton of talk about most improved to start the year, that's kind of died down a bit, leaving the question, who is leading the race for the award? There were a lot of possibilities in the beginning, but right now I think the candidates are fairly clear, starting with Darius Garland of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Garland has been the catalyst for the surprise Cavs, who sit just 2.5 games behind the Heat for first place in the Eastern Conference. While Garland had a significantly better second season than his rookie, there was still some uncertainty about the level he could get to and how much he could affect winning, but now all those questions look funny in hindsight. The only players in the league that average both 20 points and 8 assists a game are James Harden, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, and Darius Garland. On top of that, he's shooting about 48% from the field, 38% from 3, and 91% from the line. That's spectacular for anyone, but especially for a 6'1 guard, and to me, he's on the short list of guys young players should study today. The way he's continued to absolutely eat off the floater game and use it as a perfect counter with the lobs to Jared Allen and Evan Mobley has been excellent. He's become one of the league leaders in drives, right at 16 a game, using that shiftiness to the fullest and taking a much needed leap as a pull-up shooter from 3 and an overall scorer. Basically everything that we talked about in that preseason video, besides getting to the line more, he's improved on. The ultimate case for the first time All-Star Garland is he's now the go-to scorer and distributor on one of the best teams in the East. He's taken a significant jump closing out games and just showing levels of progression across the board. He might not have that raw points per game increase that often dominates this award, but you'd be a fool to not see how much better he's been this year and the difference that exists for the Cavs when he's unavailable. The man is averaging 9.3 assists a game, which is good for third in the league behind only Chris Paul and James Harden. That doesn't tell the whole story, but it's nice being right there with two of the best playmakers we've ever seen. He's more composed, has continued to play with great pace and nuance in the pick and roll, makes the right play routinely, and his own development as a scoring threat has also led to improvement on the driving kicks. He definitely could still get better at those and hitting the tougher passes out to the perimeter, but the pocket passes and dump offs have been excellent. He's still one of the league's best mid and short range jump shooters. Of course, the Spurs haven't been great, but in those contested games that they have had, he's always a go-to. And the right to left cross still might shake you out your shoes. To me, he's not quite on the level defensively as he has been in the past, especially on ball, mainly because now he's the main option on offense, but he's still leading the league in steals, bound to blow up your dribble handoff at any moment, and off the ball he's still been excellent. Overall, he's on the short list of best guard defenders in the league to me. I know he was a replacement All-Star, but he's absolutely deserving of that spot and certainly a candidate for Most Improved award this season. I think the Spurs being a lottery team will hurt his chances a bit, but in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't take away of how much better DeJounte has been this season. The player who's really come on strong due to some circumstances I definitely didn't see panning out in this fashion is Portland's Anthony Simons. Now there is still some tough competition here for this award, but the way he's been playing since Dame was out, and especially without CJ, is the makings of a future and really current star. Over his last 23 games, Simons is averaging nearly 24 points and 6 assists on 46-42-86 splits. In that same span, these are the names that match those numbers. This is a guy who hasn't been too much more than a shooter and complimentary scorer in the past. He's had his moments of creation and terrific games flashing the upside, don't get me wrong, but when you're playing on a perennial playoff team with Dame and CJ, the room is not there for you to be that guy, and he still has some things to work on to be ready for what he's doing now. The combination of freedom, him taking the reins and improving as a shot maker, and especially as a playmaker, has put him in this position. And really, while he has some erratic moments, might make just a few too many jump passes, though I'm a jump pass advocate in a lot of situations, his ability to hit that skip in the pick and roll, thread the needle, and make the proper dump off read has been super exciting to see, as I've always been curious just how much of a featured or leading role he could take on. The way he's picked up on some tendencies in Dame's game is actually kind of scary. I wouldn't have said that Simons really played similarly to Dame coming in, but now the way he sets up screens, the slow to fast between the legs, the sidestep, choppiness, there's a lot there from the future Hall of Famer that he's added to his own bag.
Barrett trying to defend Dame, step back three, just to push the ball in transition.
He's got 16 now. Simons dancing, stepping, shooting, making.
take Simons. That's how hot he's been. Step back three.
The Blazers did it with Bledsoe on the floor. Now with Terrence Mann. He'll dribble.
Portland will probably take a step back into the middle of the lottery down the stretch, but they've been extremely competitive lately against some solid and good teams, even given the circumstances. But if he's going to continue to put up about 23 and 6, be an absolutely lights out 3-point shooter on 8 attempts of that lightning quick release, he'll at least have a healthy candidacy, especially given the guy averaged about 8 points a game last year. Now, Charlotte's Miles Bridges had quite a bit of buzz to start the year, and rightfully so. It's died down a bit given the Hornets have lost 9 of their last 10, but he's averaging 20 points, 7 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists a game in year 4 after being at just about 13, 6, and 2 last year. He's always been this high-flying, versatile forward who can guard a couple positions and handle it a bit, but his growth as an overall creator this year is the area I've been most impressed by, and it's really what's been carrying his scoring jump, because after being a 40% shooter from 3 last year, he's at just 30% on 6 attempts this year. Those improvements to his handle have really allowed him to expand his game, but now he's been getting to the rack with a vengeance, hitting big-time step backs, crossovers into pull-ups, and completely taking over some games with his scoring. It's been very good to see for a guy to do this consistently after showing some flashes in the past, especially down the stretch of last season. Ultimately, it's a tough list to crack for sure, but Bridges is definitely still in the mix, and if the Hornets right the ship a bit, it'll help his case narrative-wise, because by definition, he has to be in contention for most improved. The last two guys we'll talk about look like they'll be one of the best backcourts in the league for a long time, and that's Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. Now, starting with Ja, I'll be honest, he probably ends up winning just because he's the most visible out of everyone we've talked about, and has taken his game from what was all-star level and really star level down the stretch to MVP, first team All-NBA, and superstar. He's improved in basically every area except assists, become an all-time great driver and finisher and walking highlight mix. And there really aren't enough words to describe just how good he's been. But the thing about this award is there's quite a bit of gray area and interpretation that makes it debatable, especially when you don't go strictly off of raw number increases, and in a year like this that's given us several new, extremely high impact players. What level jump is most significant to you? Is it star to superstar? Is it good player on bad team to star on great team? Is it bench player to budding star? That's kind of what we're working with here at the moment. And then Desmond Bane is a second year player. You guys know how I feel about that. When it comes to this award, all second year players make a leap. Do we also make the argument for Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Cole Anthony, Tyrese Maxey, and Halliburton? Because they've all been significantly better this year too. Bane's been excellent, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him here. Kind of a technicality, but that's just how I approach it. And in all of this, none of these guys need this award to validate their progression or future in this league. They're all well on their way to making their mark in a big way. So, right now, I think my pick would be Darius Garland. I just think he's made the most significant and impactful jump out of everyone we talked about in this video. Again, his case isn't the most box score appealing as a 10-point leap in points per game would be, and there are definite cases for the others and a lot of season left, but he's been a top 6 point guard to me behind Steph, Ja, Luka, Trey, and CP3, and literally no one expected the Cavs to be this good, and for most of the year, he's been their sole creator. I appreciate y'all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and comment down below who you'd pick for the award and why. There will be plenty more NBA and draft content coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But that's going to do it for this video. I'm Keandre, this is Hoop Intellect, and I'm out.
Life ain't sweet, Saturday through Monday, but in the summertime, you my watermelon Sunday.
Gotta beat the heat, even though I wanna play, but you keep me cool, you my watermelon Sunday.